yeah, and I was just like, I didn't really know what to make of it. Like, I was obviously over the moon I made my debut, but it was pretty devastated. I got taken off again. I was only on for like 12 minutes or something.
Hello guys, it's producer Ross here, and welcome back to another episode of Ross Meets, the series where I catch up with former Town players to talk about their careers from the ups to the downs and everything in between. Now, another week done in self-isolation. I hope you all are keeping safe and well. And here we are with another episode of Ross Meets. I hope you've enjoyed the previous 3 episodes of this series. Of course, catching up with Adam Tanner, George O'Callaghan, and my good friend Sergi Bolcher, aka Sergei Baltacha. Now, in today's episode is a first because I'm speaking to a former Town player who is actually still currently playing. Now, former Town forward Billy Clarke is currently at Grimsby Town, and in this episode we spoke briefly about the current situation, about how it's affecting him to, of course, train with his current team, Grimsby Town. And it was nice to sort of catch up with him and talk about what he's doing, part of, training and keeping himself fit and all that jazz. And it was good to catch up with him about that. Now, of course, Billy Clarke, he came through the academy, came over from Ireland. So we spoke to him about that. Of course, he was part of the FA Youth Cup winning team of 2005, but of course missed the final because he was injured. He got injured in the Spurs game, which he scored in though, which is not bad. But he chatted about his time as a youth academy player. He made some great friends who he's still now friends with today. And I think that's what I love to hear about stories, that you're part of a youth academy team and then you're still friends 10 years later, which is brilliant, just brilliant. But yes, he spoke about his time as a whole at Ipswich Town, from of course playing under Joe Rawle, Jim Magilton, briefly Roy Keane, and of course his various loan spells and different moments that he would like to chat about during his time at Town. Of course, he left Town to join Blackpool, where he got promoted via the playoffs to the Premier League, but he wasn't able to play in the Premier League because he suffered a very bad injury. So we spoke about that. And of course, spoke about other career moments in his career, from his spell at Crawley Town, Bradford City, Charlton, and also what he's up to now, which of course is at Grimsby Town under his former Blackpool boss in Holloway. Here we go. Hope you enjoy another episode of Ross Meets. Let's get into it. Billy, thank you very much for joining me in these weird and strange times we're living in at the moment. How are you getting on with everything?
Yeah, I'm alright. It's obviously, like you said, strange and weird, but I'm keeping busy. Got like 3 kids, 1 baby, 2 older boys, so all the homeschooling and just keeping them entertained and keeping my own fitness on top of things. Like, I'm able to go for a run, which is quite a nice break in the day for me, really. So I've been enjoying that, and it's just kind of every day is just a bit of groundhog, but it's I don't know, just a bizarre time, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And of course, you're still playing yourself. You're at Grimsby Town at the moment. That must have been a strange thing to happen midway through a season, like getting told, "Oh, the season's now suspended until further notice." That must have been strange for you, like just.
Yeah, we were training on Friday, and we had Carlisle at home on the Saturday. So we were just doing our set plays. And the manager's come over and gone all the games off, like, because there was rumours that it might be off.
Yeah.
You're kind of hearing whispers, and then he just come the game's off. Football won't resume till at the time it was the 4th of April or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So he said 2 weeks. I'll just go home 2 weeks. You'll get a programme.
That's good.
And come back in the Monday before we were supposed to play Newport. Tomorrow we had Newport away. So we were starting back training just Monday gone, and then obviously that went back to the 30th of April, and I think it'll be extended even more now.
Yeah, I think so.
I think it'll go into the end of May, June now.
Cool. We'll stop talking about self-isolation and coronavirus and everything. Let's talk about your time, as a player. Of course, we're going to start from the beginning, as I always do in these chats. Of course, it started with Ipswich Town, but did you always want to be a footballer? Of course, you came over from Ireland. How was that, transition travelling over to England?
I think it was. I always loved football. I always played football. It was never really an option up until I did start going over on trial at because I know a lot of the lads, the English lads, were at the academy from early on, and they were within the professional setup. So I think for me, it was never really a thing of, oh, I'm going to be a professional footballer, or I'm like, it wasn't until I did start going on trial. Like I played regularly every day with my friends or my club in Ireland, and then at about 13 I started going on trials, various clubs, got selected for my Irish team under 15 I think it was, and then it kind of just progressed really. And obviously when I went to Ipswich full time, I moved over actually 6 months earlier.
Okay.
Then, so I was kind of you're not allowed really become an academy player or like full time until you're 16. So I was there at 15 and a half, just training regularly, and which was unbelievable really, like being in a full time environment and professional footballers. And at that time there's absolutely no pressure whatsoever. It literally is just a kick around with your mates. Like, so yeah, it was incredible, really.
And of course, that must, for you being a young lad coming over to Ireland, did you get homesickness or anything like that? Because that's can happen with some players.
Yeah, I did struggle really. I mean, the environment I was in was unbelievable. We had 8 lads in the house. It used to be across the road. There used to be a garage across the road. And there was Jackie and Jerry Jarvis who put myself, Shane Supple, Michael Sinnott, Cathal Lorden, there was Scott Mitchell, Adam Ate, Owen Garvin, and there was people dipping in and out weekly, but they were full time, so it was just like living with your mates. But at the same time, I was 15 when I moved over. It was hard, it was. I would say it stems from me being youngest in my family as well, the baby really, and sometimes I was immature and kind of spoilt and in that sense, and it was difficult. And if it wasn't for Helen Broughton and Brian Clew, then I would have gone back. I wouldn't. There was times when I finished a camp with Ireland in Dublin, let's say, and instead of getting on the flight, I'd get the train back home, and say I'm not coming back for a few days, like stuff like that. And like I said, if it wasn't for Helen and Brian and my parents, really, then it could have been a lot different.
It must have been great for you to have all them Irish lads with you as well, like Shane, Owen, and everybody. It must have been good for you to have all these lads. Yeah. Did you all grow up in the same sort of area, or was it different parts?
I knew them from playing for Ireland, but they're from Dublin. I'm from Cork. Okay. It's like we never really crossed paths, and it wasn't until we started living together, and then we had the likes of Mitch. Ate, who else was there? There was about 9 rooms. Honestly, it was so much fun. Like every night we'd just be messing about, like watching films or playing on the computer, or because we lived so close to the training ground, we'd nick a ball really from the ground that day and just keep it, and we'd go and play World Cups or headers and volleys and stuff. Just after being training all day, then we'd go back there like at 7 at night when it was the summertime and play again. It was just literally like having a kick about and living with your mates.
It must have helped in terms of the youth team back then, and of course you guys went on to win the youth cup. Of course, unfortunately you were injured in the final, but what a run that was. Was it because of that bond you all had, would you say?
Yeah, like it must have been the group we had, because if you look on paper, the team that we beat, like who have gone on to have a successful career, it's absolutely unbelievable that we got something out of the game. But it was the coaches. I still think at the time it was Bry. Bry was our main coach, and I've still not come across anyone better than Bry. And for what he's done for me was unbelievable. Kind of the majority of my career and how I've become a professional is probably down to him. And he's rubbed off on everyone else as well, so I'm sure all the other lads would say the same. You had Steve Greaves, who was the youth team coach as well at the time, and there was no one exceptional at football really. It was just everyone was good. We were all good friends, and and good mates, and we just, I don't know, it was just one of them. It won't happen again. A team that low in the Championship, definitely, but even a lower league Prem team, I would say, will never win the FA Youth Cup again.
Yeah, because you think the last decade, Chelsea and Liverpool and Man United have sort of dominated it, and for us in 2005, that's 15 years ago this month. Of course, unfortunately, you missed the final. But what was the mood like going into that final and everything like that? Was just.
I think it was just excitement of. It was the biggest at the time. It was the biggest game of all of our lives. Playing in front of, there must have been about 15,000 at Portman Road. Going to St Mary's, being on the telly, just coming, like, it was just excitement and the buzz around the place, because we probably didn't realise the magnitude of it, whereas the older players, the coaches, probably thought this is pretty special that we're even in the final here. So we kind of just were just excited, I suppose, just kind of naive and excited.
Then, of course, the next season after that, you made your debut. Joe Raw was the manager then. How was Joe as a manager? Of course, you signed your first professional contract under him as well. So what was that like?
He was great. He was gentleman. He was really nice guy to speak to. Like Willie Donachie done most of the coaching, but Joe would come in. I mean, it was a brief kind of. Even when I made my debut, I got injured about 2 weeks later, and I was out for 3 months with dislocating my elbow. So, and then at the end of that season, he left, and so it was like a pretty brief spell. But I mean, he was encouraging. He put a lot of belief in the young lads. He gave a lot of players their debuts, and my actual debuts are kind of a huge bittersweet. If you from making my debut and coming on to getting taken sub back off. Yeah. I was thinking, Jesus, this is like, should I be happy here, or like, have I just been double subbed?
Yeah. Was that because you got injured, or was it?
Nah, it was because it was Cardiff away at Ninian Park, and we were 1-0 down, and I think 1-0 down were we, and oh no, maybe it was 0-0. I come on, and Jimmy won, scored a free kick, and then I think Fabian Wilness got sent off, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was a 2-1 defeat, I think, weren't it?
So we went down to 10 men, and then obviously to get another defender on. Yeah. It was 1-1 then to get another defender on, and I think we conceded eventually anyway. But yeah, I remember my agent at the time lived in Liverpool, and I was going back to his place for the till Wednesday night or something, and we gave Joe Royal a lift home as well. So I was in the back of the car, and I was just like, I didn't really know what to make of it. Like, I was obviously over the moon. I made my debut, but was pretty devastated. I got taken off again. I was only on for like 12 minutes or something. Yeah.
I think you made another appearance that season, and then you went to join Colchester on loan. I think you actually helped them get promoted to the Championship, I think, during that spell.
Well, my next appearance was... So I got injured. That was about a week before my 18th birthday. Okay. And then we played Portsmouth in the Reserve League the following week, and I dislocated my elbow in that. So I was out for 3 months. So then when I come back, I think... Oh, no. I played on the Saturday, I think, and then something like that. And in that, my first start, I got dragged at half-time. So I was thinking, oh, my God, I'm not cut out for this. I keep getting taken off for, like, doing whatever. And then eventually, I went to Colchester on loan. Phil Parkinson was manager there.
Of course, you reunited with him, of course, at Bradford, didn't you?
Yeah. And to go there, and I suppose at the time you kind of take stuff for granted and just not really appreciate what you're in, and to get promoted from any league is pretty special. Yeah. And I was just put into it. Like, said you're going on to Colchester, and they were second in League One or something. So to go into that environment and of actual men's football again was brilliant, and to get the experience and to get those times and kind of a promotion under my belt pretty early on in my life was pretty good.
How does I'm always interested in how loans are sort of worked out. Like, do you have to agree that you want to go? Like, Colchester isn't too far away, but are you any part in that? Or...
well, not at that age really. You get told what to do at that age.
Yeah.
If someone said to me now, you're going on loan, or if the manager come to me and said you can go on loan, the only team that wants you is a team down south, I'd say no, like I'm not going.
Yeah.
Because of my family reasons and stuff like that. But at the time, it was perfect. Like, it was on my doorstep. I'd drive into games by myself, or drive into training, because we trained at the Garrison in Colchester, and we used to get changed at Lair Road. So I used to drive there by myself. But then match days, I'd jump in with Chris Iwiluma and Wayne Brown, and we'd drive together. And again, it was just, I still keep in touch with Chris.
That's good.
Now I still speak to him regularly. So yeah, it just makes friends kind of that you always stay in touch with.
Of course, we'll go into your other loan spells, because of course you had a few at Town, but then go to your breakthrough season. Of course, under Jim Magilton, he was in the dressing room as a player and then transitioned to a manager. That must have been very strange for you as a young lad. Like, this was a first team player about a year ago. Now he's your manager. How was that? And of course, you made like 30 plus appearances that season, the 2006-07 season.
It was, again, because I used to be dipped in and out of the first team when he was a player. But I always, when you're that young, any senior pro, you just look at them and kind of in awe of the career they had and stuff like that. But when he became a manager, I don't really know, like, because I didn't really have that much interaction with him as a player. Like, we never really mixed, or I didn't really go on nights out. I went on 1 or 2 nights out with the team at the time, but never really kind of socialised outside. So it was different for me to say some older lads who probably socialised regularly with him, and then he probably had to just cut them off that way. But yeah, it was good for me to obviously play regularly. But going back again, I was probably just naive and took it for granted, and there was times when I should have done stuff and been a bit more professional, thinking that I can really kick on here, whereas I probably thought, I'm going out tonight. Like, I played a couple of games last week, I'm going out tonight. And that's what I did, like, at times. So I probably could have been a bit more professional at times, but I was obviously over the moon to play that many games and to be in men's football, and especially at a club like Ipswich, where the fan base was still, we were getting 25 plus every week, and we were a very good championship team.
Were you still living with the group of lads, or did you have your own place by then?
So I left the digs and I moved in with a family for a season, but I was still in the youth team then. And then Scott Barron had a house and he had a spare room, so I just rented the room from him. And yeah, we've been best mates basically since we were 15, 16. So he's my agent now as well.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, so I lived there for a few years, and then I ended up buying my house when kind of the back end of his Ipswich career. He was about to leave. He ended up going to Millwall, and I stayed there for another couple of seasons, and I bought my own house in Kesgrave.
Oh, that's where I live right now. So I'm currently in Kesgrave. So whereabouts can you remember in Kesgrave?
Wilkinson Drive. So you go past the Tesco's, keep going around the bend, and it's just like a right turn down around, and then by Cedar School, is it Cedarwood?
Yeah. I'm very close. I'm about a 2-minute walk, so it's changed a lot probably since you were living there. But yeah, it's a really nice place to live. I enjoy it.
Yeah, we had the woods there. You could walk around the back of the thing, and then so we had a little dog then, and I had a little dog, and my girlfriend at the time, now my wife, we ended up having a little baby. Or she fell pregnant at the end of my Ipswich Town days, and then we moved to Blackpool then.
Yeah. Now, of course, you mentioned a few players. You name dropped a few players about the Youth Cup. Of course, I think you're good friends with Liam Trotter, aren't you? And you had Danny Haynes, Chris Casmit as well. And of course, most of you broke into the first team altogether. That must have been great as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Liam's my best mate as well as me. Well, me, Liam, and Scott. Really, we speak pretty regularly every day from that time. So to break through, it was. There probably wasn't enough people from that team to break through. Like, I know there was a lot of debuts, but like you had Sammy Moore make an appearance, Chris Casement, Liam Craig went on to have a massive Scottish career.
Did yeah.
Trotz obviously had an excellent career, still going. Danny probably had a very good spell, but kind of the last 6 years fell off a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, there was a lot of us. Ed Upson come in and obviously scored the winner. So to come through and play that many games for Ipswich, I would say we probably should have done better out of it, to be honest. Again, if you look at that Southampton team and compare where they are now and where we are, it's complete polar opposite. Like it would probably be me, Liam, and Garvin have had the best career, I suppose, out of it. Yeah. And we've I think there's one top flight appearance between us.
Yeah. Of course, you in that team you had Phil Walcott, Nathan Dyer, Gareth Bale, of course, was on the bench. I don't think he actually featured, but
Leon Best, Dexter Blackstock, did he play? Or McGoldrick,
yeah, of course.
He played, played. You had Martin Craney, you had Lallana was dipping in and out there. So, like, if you look at the careers they've got over 1,000 Prem games probably between them, and we've got one.
That's just one of those things. But who was your roommate back then? Because you're good friends with Liam and of course Scott and everything.
I think we played. I think the Leeds game. I think we had Leeds, or one of the FA Youth Cup away games, because we didn't really do that much away travelling. It was all like Southampton Saturday morning. We just travelled down Saturday morning. So the away games we played Newcastle away in the league one year. Leeds at Ellen Road we played. That was the second year of the FA Youth Cup, so we won it, and then we had Leeds I think the following year. So it was me and Trotz roomed, and I remember he loved his music, and it was when you had a Discman and like people would go around with a case like about that big of about 1,000 CDs in it, and he lent it to me and I left it in the room.
Oh no.
He never got it back, and he still tells me about it to this day. The biggest music collection ever, and it's in a hotel somewhere.
Did you when you all became pros, did you room again with Liam?
No. Did I? I've been with Matt Richards a couple of times. I can't even remember.
Were you able to choose, or did your gaffer at the time today?
You just get put in a room.
Okay.
Yeah, put in a room and told. But again, you wouldn't get put in a room with someone who's 34. Like, you get put in with someone who's similar age, and you've got a bit of common ground with, and so it varied probably.
Yeah. I want to go back to Jimmy Gilton. Like, what was he like as a manager? He probably gave you the most appearances during your time at Town. How was he as a manager?
It was difficult for me. Mm-hmm. Like I said, he did give me my appearances, but it was. I do feel I was probably mismanaged slightly wrong. where used to get a bollocking and scream that probably wasn't the best thing for me. Like if I was to look back now, he had Brian with him who would try and be a bit of a mediator, but it was just how Jim was. He was passionate, and if he wanted you to do something and you didn't do it, he'd let you know. And like I felt he was like it. It wasn't just with me. He was like that way. It was with everyone. But that was his way of doing it, and it worked with a lot of people, and some people found it tough, and so that, like, yeah.
What would you say is your best moments at Town? Of course, you scored 4 goals, I think, during your time. I think they came in a month period. I think you scored like two back to back. Any key moments?
My first goal, obviously, was League Cup against Peterborough away, and I come on, and within about 5 minutes, I've got a forearm smashed from their centre half, broke my nose, and the blood just pouring out everywhere. It was the white punch kit, and there was blood everywhere. So I took that off, and I put on. I think they might have had a blank one, and I put that on. More blood, ruined that again. So I might have gone through another one, and then eventually all that was left was Jamie Peters' shirt.
Oh no! So I
wore that, and I ended up scoring in that, and it was from probably about 4 inches out. Matt Richards had a shot, and the keeper saved it, and it's just landed on the line, and I've tapped it in.
Counts. They count. They all count.
Yeah, I'd take another few more of them. So that would definitely be one of them. My debut, like I said, is a bit of bittersweet, like coming on and at Cardiff and coming back off and stuff like that. Where else? My second goal. Yeah, I had a week where I scored. I think I scored Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday. And my header against Southampton was nice. I remember Mark Noble crossed it, or free kick, back post, and I just headed it. And again, I still speak to Nobes like regularly now, and still really good mates with him. So, it's just certain people you keep in touch with, some you don't.
Definitely, that was a cue for us back then. He wasn't at his peak yet, Noble, but for him, for what he's done at West Ham is incredible. And I know there's one really nice picture I think I used on our Instagram recently of you two, because you celebrating your goal, and that must have been brought about a lot of memories back.
I remember we had Colchester away, and he obviously felt that he was better. He was a centre mid. He was probably played at centre mid his whole youth career, and his few appearances for West Ham at the time. And he's gone to Jim. I think we were losing it at Layer Road. He's gone to Jim, like, put me in centre mid. And at half time, Jim's come in. He's gone, if you ever tell me where to put you again, who do you think you are? You Revelino. Yeah. And he's called him a Revelino, C-U-N-T. And I still call him that now sometimes.
Yeah.
He tells me something, I'll go, shut up, you Revelino.
Oh, that's brilliant. Of course, then you went and had various load spells out. Of course, out Falkirk, Darlington, Northampton, Brentford, and during your time at Brentford, of course, you got them, helped them promoted, and scored a good amount of goals there. Like, once again, you get a bit older there. Were you able to decide if you were going to go to these places? Definitely Falkirk, going up to Scotland.
That was a bit of a kind of. I didn't really want to go there, to be honest.
Yeah,
it was too, like, I didn't know anything about it. It was kind of just got told that you're going there, and me and Subs went there, and I think it didn't work out really. Both of us barely played, and it was just, it felt at the time that they just wanted me out the building really, and that was about February till the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I played actually a bit. I remember I was out the team, started in the team at the start of the season, then out the team, and then I got back in, but playing left mid.
Okay.
And I've never been a proper out and out left midfielder. Like, it was a 4-4-2, and it was difficult. Like, so I was never really going to excel there too much. And then I was out the team again. I think we played Portsmouth in the FA Cup. Trotz got sent off after about a minute. And when he got sent off, I got moved back to left mid to kind of fill in the gap again. And I think that might have nearly been my last appearance. And then Falkirk, and then following that season, Darlington I was happy to go there. Yeah, done well there as well. Northampton again. At Darlington, my wife fell pregnant then, so it was when I was coming back. I didn't really want to be too far away from Ipswich. So Northampton come in, went there for a month, scored hat-trick on my debut there, and finished there after a month, and then went to Brentford. So Brentford had Bowditch for the start of the season, Jordan Rhodes for the middle bit of the season, and myself the back end. And I think three of us done pretty well for them combined. So the back end of that season, finished there, and had it. I think I scored 18 goals that year, which is I was pretty happy with. The most I've scored in a season ever.
Did you? I think I read that you were transfer listed. I think were you transfer listed? Was that a thing?
Yeah, well, I was out. Yeah, I now that you say that, I vaguely remember that. Yeah, it wasn't a phone call saying we're putting you on the transfer list. It was just reading the paper.
Oh wow! And then,
but I think because even now, really, it's when you come through an academy, you kind of. I remember, come through academy, you feel you never get that like full on first team status, like until you're kind of past the 24, 25 age. So I still think I probably, if at the time, could just not really tell me or ask me or get my opinion or anything. So.
Of course, Jim then got sacked, and you were still at the club. But then Roy Keane came in. Did you have any dealings with him when he came in?
Yeah, my the agreement we had for with Brentford was I train with Ipswich Mondays, Tuesdays, and go to Brentford Thursday, Friday, play Saturday. Okay. So Mondays, Tuesdays, I train with Roy, and that was my dealings with him. Really, it was probably about 2 months out. So yeah, it wasn't really much, but I mean, you hear so many stories, but any dealing I've had with Roy, well, all of them bar him releasing me, have been great. You know, when I went to Blackpool and got injured, because my wife and her family are all from Ipswich, and I speak to Matt Bayard, the physio, whenever I pick up a knock or stuff like that. So I was going there for a bit of rehab, and Roy pulled me in his office and said, if you want to speak to my physio up in the physio I used at Man United, just give me a shout, and whenever you want to come down here, just, no problem, just come in and we'll have a chat and anything you need. So that was brilliant. Like he's my idol growing up.
Of course, yeah.
So I've always kind of I still think that now, and but then I hear players who have played with him or under him, and he can be kind of the complete opposite. But because I've never had that, you know, I still think he's unbelievable.
What was that chat like then when you getting released? That must have been, you know, for you sad because you're like leaving the club that you came through the youth academy, but then you also thought, okay, maybe there's a chance for me to progress my career, move on somewhere else, and see where I can take you.
Yeah, I think we had Jordan, we had Rhodesy coming through behind me, but I still think that my release was way too premature. Like if you put a 19-year-old who scored 18 goals in league football in a championship league, there's not a chance he's getting released now.
Yeah,
like he'll be worth a few quid for him. And he's so I just look back and think that was an odd decision. He had Rhodesy coming through behind me, so maybe that was a factor in it. And yeah, I signed for Ian Holloway at Blackpool, which was like kind of like leaving me home again.
Yeah, of course.
Going up, my wife, she was nearly due then, so we moved to Blackpool, and I remember like my first couple days training, I was speaking to Scott and Trotz and all them and saying, "Oh, we're getting relegated here. This is like we're Mickey Mouse here," and obviously that panned out completely opposite.
Yeah. That was that must have been a great experience for you to getting promoted to the Premier League. We'll of course go on to unfortunately your injury, but that must, how was Ian Holloway as a manager? Now of course reunited with him at Grimsby. That must have been a strange sort of thing.
Yeah, like I absolutely think he's up class. Like I love him. He come in with I was still so inexperienced in terms of even obviously with playing, but with managers, and I had Jim and Joe, obviously the loan ones, but as a full-time manager, just them two, and so to have Ian Holloway, like his ideas were sometimes off the wall, like his enthusiasm was incredible, his communication skills are like everything about him. He got a mediocre group of lads who would run through a brick wall for him and who would fight tooth and nail for each other, and kind of made us mediocre, or started mediocre with us, but gave us this belief and knew we were good players, and kind of just got that out of us. And we had what a season that was. Like no one would have predicted that. Like everyone would have predicted what I thought at the start of the season, and to go and get promoted to the Premier League was, it gives me goosebumps now when I see pictures or see anything got to do with it. I'm in a WhatsApp group with all of them lads still.
Oh, really? That's good.
And we still speak pretty much daily.
Was that because you got released by Town? That was pretty quick. I think you joined Blackpool. Was there any other clubs you were maybe talking to or anything like that?
There was a couple, not Championship. Mm-hmm. There was a couple of like lower leagues, but going back then, if you release, do you know what I mean? If an 18, 19-year-old scores 18 goals in a season,
yeah, and
he's probably getting signed for a Premier League team for their development, or you know what I mean, or for a top end Championship club. But that was the only team that I had interested in the Championship, and I thought, well, I've got to stay as high as I can. So yeah, like joining there with kind of just to go get games and stuff, and then I've had the best season. Well, more collectively rather than personally, but the best season I've been involved in probably in my whole career.
Now, of course, going on to your injury, of course, you're now in the Premier League pre-season. I know you've been probably asked this question a lot of time about your injury and stuff, but that must have been like devastating for you, and finally getting to the Premier League.
It was, yeah. Like you think you get promoted to the Premier League and you graft through a pre-season, off-season, and I'm like thinking I'm dream come true here. I'm obviously never thinking I'm going to get injured. I'm thinking I'm going to play in the Premier League. Like this is the best thing. This is what I've done everything for, what all my sacrifice for. Like left home at 15, and I'm going to be playing in the best league in the world against the best players in the world, and then we had a pre-season game down against Tiverton, and within 90 seconds of the game kicking off, I've done my knee, and I flew back that next day to Manchester Airport and had a scan, had an operation to determine what was wrong, and it was like you'll miss the whole season. And it was the first year as well, the rule of you have to name a 25-man squad. So with Blackpool being such a small squad, the manager needed all the players. He was registering. For me, like it would have been pointless just to register me, just in case I'd be back for 2 or 3 games at the end of the season. And it was a tough watch that year, like knowing that I should have been playing, or I would have made a few appearances. Worst case, I would have made a couple of appearances, but I still would have played. And then to get relegated the last day of the season, where I thought, I was thinking, I'll get another chance next year. But about January, February, I thought, well, at least I'll get another chance next year.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be back fit and whatever. But then we got relegated last day of the season, which killed it really.
What was your when you came back from your injury like? Did you feel a little bit different because of that injury a year out in terms of your fitness and just how your body was?
No, I felt good. I was young. I was 21, maybe 22 when I come back. I felt good. Like if I compare it to my injury that I have now, or not now, but a couple of years ago, like I come back from the first one better than I actually probably left. I had no knock-on effects, nothing. I got a bit stronger, I got a bit quicker probably, and then it was. I played just a few reserve games like the back end of that, and then I had the summer off again, and then back to pre-season. But in the championship year, I was, and I played a few games to start with, and I was feeling good.
Yeah. You left Blackpool, then joined Crawley, I think League Two at that time. But then you helped them get promoted as well. Like, how was it? You were under Steve Evans, I think.
Yeah.
How was he?
He was hard for me. He was hard work, to be honest. Again, I don't really react to that well. I just don't like the whole screaming in my face and telling me what, shouting at me, and if you're gonna do it constructively, or and it was just like that with him constantly for me. I didn't have him for long. He left about 2 months later. But to be honest, going there was, I wouldn't say I regret it, because I just think I was more forced to go to Crawley rather than willingly. I know at the end of the day it's me making the final decision, but I felt if you're kind of ushered that way and told this is the only option and this is the only club, then you're gonna do it. But if looking back now and what I know now, I don't think I would have gone.
And of course, you said you got your wife, and did you have any? How many kids did you have then?
Yeah, I had one. Did I? Yeah, I had one when I went to Crawley, and she fell pregnant again.
Yeah.
In the back end of that Crawley spell.
That's a big factor in, I think, for footballers with family. You don't want to be travelling everywhere and stuff like that. From Blackpool to Crawley, and then I think after Crawley you joined Bradford.
So I went everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, she actually. My last year at Crawley, we had our second son, and I remember she was due like the 21st of July, and when the fixtures come out, it was the 3rd of August was the first game of the season, and I was like, I know it's going to be then, and I'll miss the first game of the season. Yeah. And that Friday night, she rang me and said, I'm going into labour here, because we went to her mum's to stay at her mum's for because that's the hospital we used, so she just stayed at her mum's, and because obviously it was pre-season, I was flipping in and out at home and going away for a couple of nights here and there, to play games and stuff. So to be safe, she just went to stay at her mum's. So Saturday early morning, Friday night, and she said, I'm going into labour, so I have to just zip back from Crawley, and yeah, we had the baby 3rd of August. So two of my oldest boys are 3rd of August.
Now, where are you based right now? Of course, you're currently playing for Grimsby Town. Where are you based right now? Are you happy? You're settled now where you are?
Yeah. This would be me settled. I'm in it's a village called Menston, just outside Bradford and Leeds. And yeah, when I come to Bradford, this is where I moved to. So I've been here for 5-6 years. My 2 boys are in school. My youngest, my baby, is obviously just been born up here. So the other 2 are Ipswich born. This one's a Bradford boy. So yeah, this will be me now. And there's another lad who plays for Grimsby as well, lives around the corner from me.
Okay.
And so we travel together, and
That's good.
so does the car school. So yeah, it's in a commutable area, and like I said, the schools and the boys are settled, and that's probably the most important thing now is that they're going to be happy.
Are they into their football as well? Of course they probably will be, as their dad's a footballer. Are they know much about your career in terms of looking back at old clips and pictures and stuff?
Yeah, they go on YouTube and have the odd look. There's shirts knocking about the house.
Yeah.
There's actually, I've got a photo there that I need to...
Oh, brilliant. That's good.
So that's my debut Ipswich run there.
Oh, quality.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And the one behind it's the Blackpool playoff final.
I think that's, you got to keep them sort of stuff, don't you? Like memorable stuff to just bring back memories and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and like they need to go up on the wall somewhere, but they've been there for about 4 months. And I've got another few bin bags upstairs. I've got one more. But yeah, they do look at. They think I'm rubbish, to be honest.
I think they're going to be better.
Because I'm not 89 rated on FIFA, and I'm like 60. They go, "Dad, you're not. You're crap."
I'd say at least I'm on FIFA. You know, like luckily, I'm on
FIFA.
Yeah, stuff.
But still, like, because my youngest or my middle one, he's only 6, so he's like everyone's rated or everyone's fast, or he's gone, what's your speed on FIFA? And I've gone, I don't know, like 60 or something. He's gone, Mbappe's 94. And I'm like, well, yeah. I don't know what to do there.
Yeah. But go back to me when I was in 2006 FIFA, then I probably was, my pace was probably high back then, most likely.
Yeah, I know. So, like, and obviously, because I'm playing in the lower leagues, they're like, my oldest actually is loyal. Like, the minute I leave a club, he hates them.
Okay.
So, like, he's their number one fan when I'm playing for him. But I think he supports Bradford, really. He's a Bradford fan.
I want to chat about a bit Bradford. About that cup run, the FA Cup run. Of course, you played Chelsea. Of course, you beat Chelsea. You're a part of that team. That must have been a great little run to have as a League One team to have that run.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. We had just the whole that was a good season actually for us. League wise, we were on the brink of the playoffs until 3 or 4 games left. I think that was probably we fell off because we were so far behind on fixtures with the cup run. So there was times where we were 3-4 games behind teams, and playing catch up is difficult. But yeah, the cup run was incredible. To obviously, I think it's probably the biggest cup upset probably ever. Especially when the fact that we were 2-0 down, and the form Chelsea were on at the time, like the statistics have obviously been broken or have fallen off since then, but Mourinho team has conceded 4 at home, or Chelsea have never lost from being 2 goals ahead and stuff like that. Like, it was so to do that, and to play a part in that was incredible, and something that look back on now, and when I see it, it just gives me a smile. Like,
and of course, it was at Stamford Bridge as well, weren't it? And was it John Steady who scored? Did he play?
Yeah, Steady got one. Phil Murray's got one. Andy Halliday and Mark Yates.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were 2-0 down with like 40 seconds left in the first half. And I remember after the game, Mourinho come in and said, like, he's come around, shook everyone's hand, and says, "You have all got big balls," like that. And it was unbelievable. I got because my wife and my oldest come to that, and my mum flew over to look after the youngest. So she got the train down Saturday morning, and my sister, who lives in Eastbourne, and her husband come to the game, and I got the train back after the game back to Leeds, and I just remembered it was just full of Bradford fans, and we were sat in the aisles, and I was gonna buy a ticket because we were in a rush, So I just hopped on the train. I was going to buy the ticket when the ticket lady come past, and when I went to get the ticket, all the fans just started shouting abuse at her. And he can't pay and that, and she's gone okay then. So I got a free ticket out of it.
Oh, brilliant! That's a nice little added on thing. Definitely after that. Then of course, I just want to go through your other spells you had. Of course, you joined Charlton. Of course, unfortunately, you suffered another ACL injury. Was it as bad as the first one, or?
Yeah, worse. Not in terms of what I'm missing out on. Obviously, I was missing out on Premiership football there, but in terms of I was older, I was playing really well. We were doing really well as a club. Charlton's a fantastic club. You know, it's got everything to be a championship club at least, and look where it is now. So we were doing really well, and I was really enjoying it. I was living with Trotz in London. He just signed for Wimbledon, so we were living together, and my wife actually stayed up here because of the kids in school. But I was still enjoying it. I was still playing regularly, and had a good group of lads there. And London on the doorstep was incredible. So for that to happen then, and like I said, I was a bit older then, so I probably haven't recovered.
Yeah.
Definitely haven't recovered as well as I have from the first one. And it's not from less work or lack of work, or if anything, I probably worked harder than because I had to. I knew I had to, and those days, like 5 days a week, I was getting into the training at 8 o'clock. I wasn't leaving till 5:30. And I know people think that's just a normal day's work, but for football, that's not normal.
Yeah, because your body, your physical and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, they're in at 9 o'clock, 8:30, and they're like lads leave at 2 o'clock. That's what it is. And so it was tough. I was down there, kind of with no football to play. So with my family up here, I found it difficult, and to kind of get back, and I ended up signing for Bradford then on the back of that. But playing for Charlton was brilliant.
Sorry to age check you now. You're now 32 years old. You're now at Grimsby. You had a spell at Plymouth as well. That was a long trek for you, having to do that.
Yeah, that was honestly, that was because there was nothing else. Again, another fantastic club, just not ideal for me with location wise. And the situation I'm in with a wife and 3 kids. My wife literally had a baby, and not the third child on the 14th of August. So to go down there kind of a couple of months old wasn't ideal. It's nothing against the club, and I kind of owe a lot to Ryan for bringing me down there. But wasn't till October, and I was in at Bolton training with Phil Parkinson for a while, and then he left. And I was going to sign there, and then he left, and I literally had nothing. Like by the time that decision of Bolton not wanting to offer me anything, the new manager, because under Phil I was going to sign there, the new manager not wanting to sign me, it was too late. Like all clubs had signed all their players, and I was there for 6 weeks. So that was the 2nd of September I found out that they didn't want to sign me, and all the clubs had signed their players, and it wasn't till Plymouth. I went into Oldham for a couple of days just for a bit of training, and then Ryan rang me and said, "Do you want to come down here?" And it was kind of that or hang him up really, which kind of baffled me at times, because I saw players who I know I'm better than, and I know I contribute a lot more, but I don't know. I was just kind of, because of the injury that I've had, and I'm coming off the back of just getting relegated with Bradford. I was just finding it difficult, and I was training every week on my own and keeping as fit as I could, but it's still not the same. yeah, it was literally the case of go down there and put my face back in the map and kind of get my name out again and get a few games and that, or sit tight till God knows when, or even hang them up.
Then of course former manager of Blackpool, Ian Holloway, came in and got you at Grimsby. Of course, that's where you are now. How long are you planning to hopefully still play and stuff like that? And are you looking to a coaching or anything like that? What's your end goal?
I still think of this. I still think I'm well. Like I signed for Grimsby, and like I said, Ian Holloway got the job and signed me, and I feel I've done really well there, and I've showed why I still should be playing regularly, and for me to even think that I was going to hang the boots up, or possibly, like I said, baffled me. So to know that I'm still playing regularly and still doing well and like offering a lot to teams, it's I'm going to go on for whatever, and I've just finished my B license coaching, so I was in that time where I didn't have a club. I was going into Bradford and helping out with the 14s, 15s, 16s there, and kind of getting my coaching hours in there, and so it's something that I'd like to do when the time comes. But I feel that's some distance off yet. I still as fit as everyone, and what I have lost in maybe pace, and I've gained in kind of positioning and experience and just intelligence on the pitch.
One more question, actually. Have you gone back to town since you left?
Have I? Early on, like other than when I've been going back to see Matt Byard physio for a bit of treatment, or I went to the last time I was back there was Dick Parker's funeral.
Yeah.
That was the last time I was back there, and I saw a few familiar faces. And funnily enough, the Grimsby physio is one of Brian Clough's best mates, because Brian's a Grimsby boy. So whenever we play a game down south, Brian comes to the game, and so I've seen him the last few games, like Colchester away, Crawley away, and speak to Brian when I do see him. And whenever I've got mates and like Adam Ate and a couple others, I go down there and kind of socialise a little bit there.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much for your time. We're about an hour now, so I'll let you enjoy the sunshine and keep safe and well.
From true crime to football, Brexit to Folklore. For more great podcasts from Archon, head to audioboom.com/channel/Archon. Head to audioboom.com/channel